Hello and welcome back to another episode of WRD Reads and Commentates on Harry Potter and the Sorcerer Stone, Philosopher Stone, and we are into chapter 11, Quidditch. This is the commentated reading. I got the clean readings done a couple weeks ago. I was going to do this a little bit sooner, but things came up and more things came up. And then it was Easter, and I had to go back down south, and then birthdays and things. And well, we're back up the coast, and we're getting back into it. So here we go, getting into Quidditch. The the excitement, things start to take place here. You know the drill. This, of course, contains spoilers. This is not copyright. This is discussion on things for creative use, Creative Commons, things like that. This is not for first-time listeners. And hopefully I can get the whole chapter done in a single day, because if you've been watching the previous chapters, you know I usually don't do so. It's difficult. But let's go for it. Quidditch, 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 Quidditch. Commentary of Chapter 11 of Harry Potter and the Sorcerers, or Philosophers in this case, Stone, because it is the American version. As they entered November, right after Halloween, and as Harry gets taken to the Dursleys, or the Dursleys discover that Harry is there on their doorstep. The weather turned very cold, which is why I said in the beginning that Harry died that first night. He froze to death on the Dursleys' front door. Dumbledore left him to freeze to death on the 1st of November. The mountains around the school became icy gray, and the lake like chilled steel. Every morning, the ground was covered in frost. Hagrid could be seen from the upstairs windows defrosting broomsticks. Defrosting broomsticks. What? Okay, that's a cool sentiment. So is Hagrid doing magic, though? Is he using the heating spell with his umbrella? Or does he have some other magical contraption that creates heat? How is he doing this? And why? Why are the broomsticks on the field? Um, Things that kind of don't make sense exactly. But Hagrid bundled up in a long moleskin overcoat, probably the same one that he was wearing when he went to pick up Harry at the hut on the Rock of the Sea. Rabbit fur gloves and enormous beaver skin boots. Excuse me. The Quidditch season had begun. Aha. Who else had played? Had other teams played, or was this going to be the first game of the season? We never hear about any other teams playing. Only Gryffindor and whoever they're playing against. Nobody else. We never go to a Ravenclaw Hufflepuff match. Ravenclaw Slytherin, Hufflepuff Slytherin. We never see those matches. It's kind of disappointing. I would love to get them just hanging out in the stands watching the games, other than after being kicked off the teams by Umbridge. But of course, later. That's years and years away. This has already been years. On Saturday, Harry would be playing in his first match after weeks of training. Gryffindor versus Slytherin. Of course it is. If Gryffindor won, they'd move up into second place in the house championship. This okay, but behind who? And where are they now? Are they in third place? Who are they going to move in front of? And who will they still be behind? You don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Hardly. Oh, God. My spine. My stupid, stupid spine. Oh, it takes forever. Hardly anyone had seen Harry play because Wood had decided that, as their secret weapon, Harry should be kept, well, secret. That makes sense. But, of course, the news that he was playing Seeker had leaked out somehow. Because in a place like Hogwarts, it is impossible to keep a secret. Absolutely impossible. I mean, there are a few secrets that are held that I'm surprised they're held for as long as they are. But generally, there's no secret keeping. As Dumbledore says in the end, it's a total secret. So naturally, the whole school knows. Probably Hagrid said something. But who did he say it to? Well, of course. Oh, wait. Malfoy found out. Malfoy knew. So Malfoy told all the other Slytherins. And then they probably were discussing it, and Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw overheard them talking. Mostly. Um, and Harry didn't know which was worse. People telling him that he'd be brilliant, good old compliments, or people telling him they'd be running around underneath him holding a mattress. Goodness, am I going? It was really lucky that Harry now had Hermione as a friend. He didn't know how he'd have gotten through all his homework without her. What with all the last minute Quidditch practice Wood was making them do. Homework and Quidditch. I don't understand how kids manage to get through homework and sports. I couldn't get through my homework alone. I don't know how others manage to do both things. Um, she had also lent him Quidditch Through the Ages, which turned out to be a very interesting read. Um, Quidditch Through the Ages. She lent him a library book or her own personal book. I think that this was her own personal book that she had, not a library book. Hermione got Quidditch Through the Ages from Flourish and Blots from the bookstore in Diagon Alley. That's what I believe. Fully, fully thinking that. It would make sense. It would make complete sense. Or she would have written to Flourish and Blots to order the book once she found out that Harry was going to be on the team. It's because she wants to learn what Quidditch is. She's a curious person. She always wants to learn. Learn, learn, learn. And Harry learned that there were 700 ways of committing a Quidditch foul, and that all of them had happened during a World Cup match in 1473. Wow. That must have been an exciting game. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Learned that Seekers were usually the smallest and fastest player. That most serious Quidditch accidents seemed to happen to them. That although people rarely died, but do die playing Quidditch, referees had been known to vanish and turn up months later in the Sahara Desert? Holy crikeys! Turned up months later. What was the condition of their mental state? Oh my goodness. This is why it takes forever. Hermione had become a bit more relaxed about breaking rules since Harry and Ron had saved her from the mountain troll after she lied to the teacher about why it was all happened. And she was much nicer for it. The day before Harry's first Quidditch match, the three of them were out in the freezing courtyard during break, and she had conjured them up a bright blue fire that could be carried around in a jam jar. Why? They were standing with their backs to it, getting warm, when Snape crossed the yard. No, shit. Okay. Break. Okay. Get back. Get back. Let's see. Harry, Ron, and Hermione moved closer together to block the fire from view. They were sure it wouldn't be allowed. Probably because magic is not allowed in the hallways in between classes, I guess. But otherwise, it seems like something should be fine to have some heat. Oof. Oh, missed that Harry noticed that Snape was limping. Limping Snape. See. They blocked the fire from view. They were sure it wouldn't be allowed. Unfortunately, something about their guilty faces caught Snape's eye. Because Snape is always looking for wrongdoers. Especially Gryffindor wrongdoers. Because Snape is biased. He's a bigot. You heard me. I said it. I said it. He limped over. He hadn't seen the fire, but he seemed to be looking for a reason to tell them off anyways. Just looking for reasons to be a jerk to these kids. This Severus guy is scum. What's that you've got there, Potter? It was Quidditch Through the Ages, Hermione's book. Harry showed him, because it was Hermione's book. Library books are not to be taken outside the school. It's not a library book. It's Hermione's personal book that she lent me, that she got from Flourish and Blotts and Diagon Alley. Give it to me. I'm stealing this book from you. 5 points from Gryffindor, because you have a personal book. Because I assume that it's a library book, school book, because there couldn't possibly be any reason that a student would have their own personally bought book at the school. Nobody brings books from home. Not at all. No. Every single book that exists in the school is from the library and cannot be taken outside. Now I understand, because the library books typically are old and delicate, fragile bindings, and you don't want chocolate near them. But this is Quidditch Through the Ages. And it's Hermione's book that Hermione lent to Harry. Not that she went to the library and checked out for Harry. She didn't borrow the book from the library to lend to Harry. She just lent him her book. And Snape comes up and decides to be a jerk and takes it away. Guilty until never proven innocent, or guilty not given the chance to prove themselves innocent. Just any way for Snape to be a jerk. He just constantly does. He gives no leeway. Just, nope, nope, I'm just gonna be a jerk to you guys. Be a jerk to everybody. Just looks for ways to be mean and to, yeah, I don't know how to explain it all exactly, the right words, but he's a jerk. And he seeks out ways to be jerks. I don't like some. I mean, I love Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman. Oh my goodness. Alan, 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 Alan Rickman. Oh, way too soon, my friend. To Alan Rickman. Everyone raise your goblets to Alan Rickman. Raise your wand to Alan Rickman. Amazing man, beautiful, wonderful career, amazing talent. But this is not the movie. This is the book. And Alan Rickman is not on the page. As much as we love Alan Rickman on screen, Alan Rickman is not on the page. Severus Snape is very different than Alan Rickman. Granted, we know J.K. wanted Alan to be Snape, and he is absolutely perfect as Snape. And maybe Donald Driver is about the only one who also can do it. Or maybe Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3. Yeah. Emo Spider-Man could be Snape. But no. Alan Rickman was absolutely amazing and perfect and intended, but Snape is still not Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman is Alan Rickman, and Severus Snape is Severus Snape. And they are not the same. They really are not the same. Let's not confuse them. Severus Snape presents himself to the public as a jerk, as a terrible teacher. No, a very good teacher, um, passer on of knowledge, instructor of knowledge. Sometimes. He actually, and yes, he does teach many important things, but he doesn't always teach how to do things properly. He just kind of expects the kids to know and to do it already without him teaching them how to do it and why each thing is what it is. And again, he looks for ways to punish kids, certain kids. He goes out of his way to be ridiculously target and to ignore and deny justice and consideration and logic for so many events, just so he can be a jerk to the kids. And there's my Snape rant. Let's get back to 5 points from Gryffindor because I'm a jerk. He's just made that rule up. Yeah, exactly. Harry muttered angrily as Snape limped away. Instead of saying, no, it's not a library book, it's Hermione's personal book that she got from Diagon Alley. He just lets Snape take the book that's not actually a library book. When he takes it back to Madame Pence, she's like, "This isn't one of ours. Give this back to the student. This is not a library book. It has no markings in it. There's no property of Hogwarts School Library stamped in it. You know, there's no checkout card. These things are in library books, and they're not. They're probably not in this book. I wonder what's wrong with his leg. The limp? Don't know, but I hope it's really hurting him," said Ron bitterly. Because Snape's a jerk. And everybody hates Snape. Everybody despises Snape. At least that is actually living within the school. The Gryffindor common room, change of scenery, was very noisy that evening. Yes. Harry, Ron, and Hermione sat together next to a window. Hermione was a cold window. There's a window open, letting the breeze in, the cold November breeze. And I almost forgot, but I remembered in the last break. Remember the 5th of November. I was gonna try to make it adjust it for the story for Harry Potter because it's not really the gunpowder, but remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I can think of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgotten. And then there's of course a whole lot more to that poem as well. And I probably have that. It might be in my book. I'd have to check. My poetry book is located in the cabinet above me. That's why I was looking up there. I need to read more poetry. I need to pull that book out and do that. But anyways, Hermione was checking Harry and Ron's charms homework for them. She would never let them copy. How would you learn? But by asking her to read it through, they got the right answers anyway. Harry felt restless. He wanted Quidditch Through the Ages back, the book that Hermione lent him, to take his mind off his nerves about tomorrow. So to take your mind off of Quidditch, you're going to read a book about Quidditch, about the 700 ways to make a foul in Quidditch, and about how players rarely die, but sometimes they do, and that most fouls happen to seekers. That's what you're going to read in order to take your mind off the Quidditch game tomorrow, where people have been saying, "We'll run underneath you with a mattress to catch you and you fall off your broom," which we'll find out be a pretty good idea to do, actually. Yeah, like this year and next year. Geesh. Why should he be afraid of Snape? Because Snape's a jerk. Getting up, he told Ron and Hermione he was going to ask Snape if he could have it. Yeah. Assuming with Snape thinking that it is a library book, no, Snape's not going to be the one is not going to give it back. No. Because it's a library book. It would have already been taken back up to the library. I mean, right? Why would Snape hold on to it? Continue to hold on to it after confiscating it. Better the you than me, they said together, Ron and Hermione. Not Harry, because they're saying it to Harry. That Harry had an idea that Snape wouldn't refuse if there were other teachers listening. It's a possibility, but again, why would he still have it? He made his way down to the staff room door, to the staff room, and knocked. Um, Sorry, I needed a munch. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Sorry for that. I know it's rude to eat like this on screen, but sorry. I needed to munch on something real quick. Um, or, so, Harry makes his way down to the staff room, down these flights of stairs that change, and past portraits and past Peeves and past Mrs. Norris. No, probably not past Miss. Maybe past Mrs. Norris, actually. Maybe. There was no answer. He knocked again. Nothing. Perhaps Snape left the book in there. Why would Snape logically take the book to the staff room and leave it in the staff room? It's a library book. Why would it be in the staff room? It was worth a try. If you have no logic about anything, about what people do with things when they confiscate something. How lazy does Harry think Snape is? That's the question. Snape would have to be pretty darn lazy to still have the book with him, or to have left it in the staff room and not taken it immediately up to the library and given it to Madame Pence, who would have handed it back to him, saying it's not a library book. And then so Snape would have had it and then probably been looking for, or theoretically looking for a way to return the book to Harry, even though I don't think Snape would return the book to Harry ever. Um, so I think if Madame Pence refused the book, I think Snape would have just said, "Well, take it anyways. Add it to the collection. Consider it a donation." That's what Snape would have done. So yeah, the book is in the library. But Harry pushed the door ajar and peered inside into that into the room where nobody answered, and a horrible scene met his eyes. Snape and Filch were inside, despite having not answered when somebody knocked twice. I guess they were hoping that the person would just assume it was empty and then not bother and not open the door. But Snape and Filch were inside alone. Snape was holding his robes above his knees. One of his. Wait. So we got to figure out how many days has it been since the troll? Is this still the next day? The day after the troll? Two, one, maybe 2 days later? We haven't reached the 5th of November yet. What? 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 Once again, JK doesn't understand. The timeline doesn't all sort out as to when things are taking place. We go jump forward and backwards, and or time is skipped. Are there that many time turners being used? I don't think so. Um. So okay. So we're back. Filch is helping Snape with bandages. Well, Snape, the potions master, who definitely has first aid knowledge. There is not just from uh, undoing Sectum Sempra, um, the Ianto Doring, something like that. And I think the book only says it's just muttering words. It doesn't actually say what the words are that he says, like it does in the movie. Um, but Snape knows how to heal wounds. So Fluffy, what's up with Fluffy? And that Snape is struggling to heal the wounds and then is requiring Filch's help? The squib? The guy who cannot do a lick of magic is helping Snape? So what is it that Snape or that Filch knows about first aid that Snape doesn't know? And why doesn't Snape go to Madame Hoot or uh, Madame Pomfrey, who who usually doesn't ask too many questions? She was like, "Oh, you injured yourself from a plant or something or a potion went wrong. A student's potion went wrong and cut you. How about something like that? You can say something like that to Madame Pomfrey. Go to the hospital wing, Snape." Blasted thing, Snape was saying. How are you supposed to keep your eyes on all three heads at once? That's a better Snape voice. Harry tried to shut the door quietly. Okay, so, but again, Snape is talking to Filch about Fluffy, about trying to get past Fluffy. Why is Snape trusting Filch with this? I don't know. I don't like it. We get a lot of blame Snape. Look at Snape as potential bad guy here. Um, and like, I mean, I guess he. Why wouldn't Snape be talking to Quirrell about it? I mean, that would kind of make sense, maybe, unless Quirrell was aware that Snape was trying to stop Quirrell, not join him in getting in there. Mm, okay, but boy, okay, another medication break. Okay, took a step outside and tried to see if some sunlight would make me feel a little bit better. And of course, started having a seizure outside. That was fun. People watching me, my arm convulsing, shaking all over the place. Yay. Anyways, we're going to try to continue. Harry tried to shut the door quietly, like I just tried to do, tried to get away, not have seizures quietly, but that doesn't happen. Luckily, not ending up on the ground this time. But Potter! Snape's face was twisted with fury as he dropped his robes quickly to hide his legs. Harry gulped. I just wondered if I could have my book back. Get out! Out! Harry left before Snape could take any more points from Gryffindor. Yeah. Oh, he sprinted back upstairs. Did you get it? Ron asked as Harry joined them. What's the matter? In a low whisper, Harry told them what he'd seen. You know what this means, he finished breathlessly. He tried to get past that three-headed dog at Halloween. That's where he was going when we saw him. He's after whatever it's guarding. The dog on Halloween, which must have been yesterday. Right? Because if Snape's trying to get bandaged, unless he's taken multiple days of bandages, and why is he talking about getting past that three-headed dog if it's been multiple days? And why hasn't he already previously talked to Filch about it or to somebody about it or something about his injuries? And I'd bet my Harry, and I'd bet my broomstick he let that troll in to make a diversion. Well, Harry, that's a bet you just lost. You lost that bet, and therefore you've lost your broomstick. And is it next year? Yes, I believe it is. No, it's book 3 where he loses his broomstick, where it breaks, and then Sirius sends him the firebolt. Damn these seizures. Hermione's eyes were wide. No, he wouldn't, she said. I know he's not very nice, but he wouldn't try and steal something Dumbledore was keeping safe. True. That is an accurate statement. Hermione is correct. Snape would not actually do that. As Snape is, despite him being a jerk to everybody, he is loyal to Dumbledore. Because Dumbledore kept him out of jail, out of Azkaban. And so Snape is beholden to Dumbledore. Magically, his life is owed to Dumbledore. And that's what Dumbledore talks about with Pettigrew, Peter Pettigrew, saying about having the life debt, being happy that it being a good thing that Harry saved Pettigrew's life, and that Pettigrew would owe Harry, be indebted. And Snape is internally indebted to Dumbledore. Eternally indebted. Yet not so indebted that he is going to act like a decent person. Honestly, Hermione, do you think all teachers are saints or something? Yeah, well, I mean, Snape's more saint-like than we think he is, than he presents himself. But I'm with Harry. I wouldn't put anything past Snape. But what's he after? What's that dog guarding? Ron was saying. What indeed? What indeed? Harry went to bed with his head buzzing with the same question. Neville was snoring loudly, but Harry couldn't sleep. I imagine with Neville snoring loudly and on top of his head buzzing with questions, that's pretty reasonably not being able to sleep. He tried to empty his mind, which is impossible. He needed to sleep. He had to. Sleep is important. I wish I could sleep. One of the reasons I struggle through this is because I barely get more than 3 hours of sleep, no matter how hard I try. He had his first Quidditch match in a few hours. The expression on Snape's face when Harry had seen his leg wasn't easy to forget. Nope. Snape was very, very angry that Harry saw Snape injured. Okay. Okay. Pride and just not wanting to be around to see Harry unnecessarily, regardless of I think regardless of the predicament, even if Snape had just been talking to McGonagall, well, maybe not to McGonagall. I don't think he would have reacted the same way with McGonagall there because McGonagall would not have stood for it. Um, but if Snape and Filch had just been sitting there sharing a cup of coffee or a butterbeer in the staff room, chatting about the weather, the cold weather, I think Snape still would have been just as angry at Harry coming into the room, into the staff room. I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think the injury actually changes Snape's anger at Harry. It would have been the same. Then the next day dawned very bright and cold. Because if it's bright, no clouds, no cloud cover, no insulation to keep the heat in, so all the heat continues to escape from the day before, which apparently there wasn't any, so it's just cold. The great hall was full of the delicious smells of fried sausages and the fried sausages. I almost had that for breakfast, but it said they had to be cooked from thawed and they were frozen. So I will make them soon. And the is filled with the cheerful chatter of everyone looking forward to a good Quidditch match. You've got to eat some breakfast. Don't want anything. Just a bit of toast, wailed Hermione. I'm not hungry. Harry felt terrible, because when you don't sleep, it's difficult to eat in the morning. In an hour's time, he'd be walking on to the field. Harry, you need your strength, said Seamus Finnegan. Seekers are always the one who get clobbered by the other team. Thanks, Seamus, said Harry, watching Seamus pile ketchup on his sausages. Ew. Ew. Seamus. Seamus, no. Shame. Shame on you, Seamus. Shame. Shame you. Shame you. Not shame us. Shame you. Oi, 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 oi. Shameful. By 11 o'clock, so that was 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is when they're having breakfast. in the Great Hall. Or maybe 10:30. That's when breakfast has stopped being served at McDonald's. You can't get the sausages after 10:30. Nope. That was a lot of years ago that I worked at McDonald's. But by 11 o'clock, the whole school seemed to be out in the stands around the Quidditch match. At least she finally made it clear that it's not an absolute. It's not absolutely everybody was out there, but most, it was like just about everybody. Many students had binoculars, some had omnioculars. The seats might be raised high in the air, but it was still difficult to see what was going on sometimes. Yeah, because high up in the air. Ron and Hermione joined Neville, Seamus, and Dean, the West Ham fan, because that's important to know that Dean Thomas is a West Ham fan because he's Muggle-born. How about say Dean the other Muggle-born in their year, in their dorm, in that shares a dorm with Harry and Ron and Neville and Seamus and no, he's older. Uh, but yeah, okay, yeah. We got to know that he's got to be identified as the West Ham fan, which I guess comes up because later he talks about soccer stuff. But yeah, as a surprise for Harry, they had painted a large banner on one of the sheets Scabbers had ruined, that Peter Pettigrew had ruined. Itchy nose. Sorry for itchy nose. Oh, uh, the Adele's Cajun sausages that I had for lunch. Anyways, the Scabber ruined sheet is, was painted um, with the words Potter for President. President? In England? In the UK? Are there presidents in the UK? As far as I know, no. So why? He's not going to be president of the US because he's not born in the United States. So he can't be president here. I think, well, Canada's a prime minister. I think most countries are like prime ministers. I don't know what other ones are presidents. I know there are several, but not the UK. So Potter for president of what? President of the Gobstones Club? That's what it must be. Harry for president of the Gobstones Club. And Dean, who was good at drawing, had done a large Gryffindor lion underneath. Then Hermione had performed a tricky little charm so that the paint flashed different colors. That is an impressive prestidigitation charm, which is actually a 0 level spell. So it's simple, something that any base level wizard, sorcerer, witch can do. I think druid. I don't remember if cleric gets prestidigitation. It's been a while. It has been too many years since I have played D&D/Pathfinder. I don't remember all the spells. It's been a lot of years. I want to play D&D again. I'm writing a world, but meanwhile, in the locker room, Harry and the rest of the team were changing into their scarlet Quidditch robes. Why not change in the dorms and head down? Why do it? I don't know. I mean, it would make sense for like a normal public school, but for a boarding school, eh, I don't know. The Scarlet Robes and Slytherin would be played in green, of course, because everything green is Slytherin, including McGonagall's robes and a sweater that Harry gets, or the dress robes that Harry gets are green. Um, yeah, quite a few times where Gryffindors are in green. Wood cleared his throat for silence. No, here we go again. Always, 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 always.
Okay, we're back. It has been a lot longer than I was hoping it was going to be. Um, I've took a while to recover, and then things happened. I had to go do other things. Lots of stuff came up. My birthday came up and passed, and Mother's Day came and passed, and so many other things, and moving around and trying to deal with harassing people and then escaping those harassing people, hopefully. But we're in a new location, and of course, it does say it's a spot where I'm not allowed to park, but we've been parking here. There's somebody else has been parking here for a couple months, and so we're going with it. It's been okay so far. We just passed Memorial Day, and the previous readings were sometime in the middle of April. Oh, yeah, we are. It's taken a bit, and but we're gonna get back into it because this is something I'm still trying to do this. So let's get back to it where we left off. Um, oh, sirens. I am on a busier section of highway, and that is kind of problematic. But there's the ocean still. Oh, and I got a new microphone, a Blue Yeti X, so audio should be much much better than the um, excuse me, the I can't remember the name of the cat. No, Comica, the Comica lapel mic, um, Boom XD. Yeah, the Comica Boom XD. That's what I was using. Now we're on the Blue Yeti X. So let's just get back into it because this has been delayed way too long. And yeah, so we are getting ready to start the Quidditch match. We have just confirmed that Slytherin will be playing in green, and there's going to be more sirens going by. So something's happening. That's unfortunate. We're going to keep pushing through. We're going to keep trying because it has been way too long. So, Wood cleared his throat for silence. Silence out there! Okay, men and women, said Chaser Angelina Johnson, because it is a unisex team, it's a co-ed team, unlike the Slytherins. And women would agreed because the women are important on this team. Absolutely. They always will be. They are key to it. This is it. Wood. The big one. said Fred Weasley. Fred, the one we've all been waiting for, said George. Oh, George, we know Oliver's speech by heart, Fred told Harry, interrupting the speech. We were on the team last year. They know the speech by heart. How many times has Oliver Wood given this speech? This is the one, the big one, the one we've all been waiting for. Shut up, you two. This is the best team we've had, Gryffindor's had in years. Years. Including all the years that you were on it, that Angelina Johnson, Katie Bell, so, oh, was there a third? Johnson, Bell, Spinette, Alicia Spinette. Can't forget Alicia Spinette. And then Fred and George, and then Wood have all been on the team for at least 1 year. And the girls have been on the team at least 2 years. Wood's been on the team a couple years. Why were they all so bad in the previous years? Oh, we're going to win it. I know it, because now we got Harry. He glared at them all as if to say, or else. Right. It's time. Good luck, all of you. Wait. So that's the whole speech. That is the entirety of the speech. This is it, the big one, the one we've all been waiting for. This is the best team Gryffindor's had in years. We're going to win. I know it. Right. It's time. Good luck, all of you. That is the entirety of his speech. I can see why Fred and George memorized it. Harry followed Fred and George out of the locker room and hoping his knees, not hopping yet, but hoping his knees weren't going to give way, walked onto the field to loud cheers. Madame Hooch was refereeing. She stood in the middle of the field, waiting for the two teams, her broom in hand. This is what she has been waiting for all year, at least since the only flying lesson that they had. What else has she been doing? What else does she do at the school? Maybe she doesn't do anything. Maybe it's just a part-time job. That likely could be. Now, I want a nice fair game from all of you, she said once they were all gathered around her. A fair game. Harry noticed that she seemed to be speaking particularly to the Slytherin captain, Marcus Flint, a sixth year. Yeah, I figured out one thing, that my seizures are triggered by overthinking. I think if I think too much, try to think too hard, I can end up having seizures. At least convulsing. It's a fun disease. It's some doctors have the nerve to call this a thing. Sorry. Out of the corner. Okay, wait. Let's see. Harry thought Flint looked as if he had some troll blood in him. Maybe the troll that was let in on Halloween is the father of Marcus Flint, or the cousin of Marcus Flint's grandfather. The cousin's grandson, or cousin's son. Yeah, of Marcus's grandfather. It's possible, maybe. Unlikely. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw the fluttering banner high above, flashing Potter for president of the Gobstone Club over the crowd. His heart skipped. Palpitations! He felt braver after getting through his first heart palpitation. Mount your brooms, please, Madam Hooch called. Harry clambered onto his Nimbus 2000. All the words for mounting his broom. Clambered? Clambered? Okay. That makes it sound like it's a lot more laborious. Or laborious. Takes a lot more effort to do than just swinging your leg over. Clambered onto his right, that is, yes, it is clambered. Not climbed or anything, but clambered. I should also say I'm now on my on a tablet. My Kindle batteries are dead. So I'm on the Kindle on the tablet with dyslexic font, the Open Dyslexia font, and it's actually working a lot better. It's so much easier. I'm really impressed with the Open Dyslexic font. Madam Hooch gave a loud blast on her silver whistle. A silver whistle. This is very, very important that Madam Hooch's whistle is silver. There will be a test later. Trivia. That's something for your trivia. Madam Hooch's whistle is silver. The wind. The wind is hitting my spine. Oh, excuse me. Forgive me for that. Oh. Excuse me again. But cheers to the beginning of the game, of the Quidditch match. The first Quidditch match of the season, which doesn't take place until November. How soon into November, we're not quite sure. It would make sense if it's early in November because Snape was still getting his leg looked at from his fluffy bite. Not quite sure how. But yeah, I didn't get into that in the previous, but what exactly, how was Snape acting, dealing with Quirrell, and Imagine, at that moment in Fluffy's room chamber, which what do they how do they eventually, or no, they already described the Fluffy's chambers, the ceiling. I think it was similar to the Great Hall being ceiling being too high to make out and kissing the ceiling. Yeah, making out with the ceiling. Yeah. Things that I regret from previous videos. Sorry for that scene. Okay, so Madam Hooch gives a loud blast on her silver whistle. Silver whistle. Remember that. Silver. 15 brooms rose up high into the air. So that means 7 and 7 plus Madam Hooch's. And the quaffle is taken immediately by Angelina Johnson of Gryffindor. What an excellent chaser that girl is, and rather attractive too. Jordan! Sorry, Professor. Not really. Sorry, not sorry. Jordan definitely wants a date with Angelina. And can't blame him. But, I mean, thinking back to when I was that age, which actually I would have started fourth year, so I'm way too young for Angelina Johnson. She's quite a few years older than I am. So it's okay to fantasize a little bit about her, right? And the actress also would be my age. No, not quite. Close. 2 years younger, maybe 3 years younger. But anyways, I was definitely not thinking along those lines when the first movies came out. I didn't even want to watch it at all. Wanted nothing to do with Harry Potter. Nothing. And yet here I am, 20 plus years later, 23 years later. Sorry, Professor. The Weasley twins' friend, Lee Jordan. That is how Lee will be identified, is the Weasley twins' friend. Was because Harry is a couple years younger, and so that would be, I mean, would identify him as, well, without being racist, or racial. Um, the guy with the spider, the guy with the tarantula down the other end of the platform. There's a way to identify Lee Jordan as the spider fan, as the arachnophile, I guess it would be. Whereas I am an arachnophobe. Yes, Lee Jordan was doing the commentary for the match, closely watched by Professor McGonagall. So I'm guessing then that this is the first time that Lee Jordan has done the commentary, being that he is a third year. Right? Yeah, he'd be third year. Oh, we're gonna try to push through as long as possible without needing to stop to medicate, because I have to stop the video in order to medicate. For these readings, because I don't want to be smoking cannabis on screen, and my computer is no longer allowing me to edit. No, I can't play back the footage to edit in any editor I've tried. I need a new computer. Please join my Patreon, join Venmo, contribute to Venmo, PayPal, check out my Throne account to contribute and help me in life. To show your appreciation, as if there is any, or hopefully there will someday be some, if I can ever actually read through this and not be so distracted. But that's how I avoid copyright issues, is by being so distracted with the reading. Without all the distractions, all this stuff would be copyright violation. So we're avoiding copyright right now. She's back to Lee Jordan. She's really belting along up there. I need maybe the open. Okay. Like I said, thinking too much can trigger my seizures. We breathe deep. Try to work through it. Need the drinks, the cannabis drinks, so that I can just drink and not worry about it. Much, much better. They're not cheap. You can help me with that. Be greatly, greatly appreciated. Join my Patreon for reaction videos where I react to various TV shows. Things just got through Star Trek Lower Decks, finished season 3 and 4, getting those uploaded. Season 4 is almost, I need to actually publish those, but season 3 is published, and many more things to come. I have done lots. And she's really belting along up there. A neat pass to Alicia Spinett, a good friend, a good find of Oliver Wood's last year. Oh, okay. So here we go. Angelina, or right, yeah. Angelina Johnson joined the team last year as a reserve. So as a backup. And yet there are no reserves on the team this year. Why do they have no reserves this year? And if she was only a reserve last year, then who was it that was the primary that now that Angelina is in the main part of the team, along with Harry, makes the team the best we've had in years? Who was worse than Angelina in that position last year? Back to John. Wait. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we gotta. Angelina passes to Alicia, then she passes back to um Angelina to Johnson. It says to Johnson. And no, the Slytherins have taken the quaffle. Not taken back. They haven't had it yet. Captain Slytherin, Captain Marcus Flint gains the quaffle and off he goes. Flint flying like an eagle up there. There's something interesting. Flint flying like a Ravenclaw. A raven whose symbol is the eagle. So it is Flint flying similarly to the way one of the Ravenclaw players has been flying. Did Flint learn something from a Ravenclaw? It is possible. He's going to no! Stopped by an excellent move by Gryffindor keeper Wood. And Gryffindors take possession. Take the quaffle. Ah, good old Oliver Wood. Saving the quaffle. Giving that sly look. He what does he do? He bats it with his tail in this one, I think, in the movie. We don't get that kind of detail in the books. They just tell and don't show. But we're getting the commentary and rather in the direct dialogue rather than actually. So I guess it is in this case a telling through the dialogue or showing through the dialogue of the commentary of Lee Jordan to instead of describing to the reader what the move was would be telling. The show don't tell. Thinking of kindergarten show and tell. Random thoughts. Okay, where are we going? And Wood and Gryffindor takes the quaffle. That's Chaser Kitty Bell of Gryffindor there. Nice dive around Flint, off up the field, and ouch, must have hurt. Hit in the back of the head by a bludger. Ow. There's a concussion. When does Quidditch get the new helmets that the NFL has adopted with the huge 3-inch thick pads on it? Not quite 3 inches thick, but the monstrosity pads on these helmets. I understand why the players don't like them. They're huge, they probably weigh a lot, they reduce aerodynamics. They just gotta have better cushion inside the helmet. What's needed. But I don't know how much you can really do with that. Or be into the sport. No, we're not going to into that sport. That's horrible, horrible thing to say. We will drink to the longevity of football. May the players be paid reasonably, and may ticket prices be reduced. Quaffle taken by the Slytherins. That's Adrian Pusey. Don't forget that name, Adrian Pusey. Sounds kind of like puke or pus. Adrian! Speeding off toward the goalpost. But he's blocked by a second bludger, sent his way by Fred or George Weasley. Can't tell which, because they don't have names on the back of their jerseys. They don't have Weasley, F Weasley, G Weasley. Might want to be careful with F Weasley, as that later could be taken horribly. And things like Weasley is our king, which weirdest things. But whatever. Better than anything I've come up with for my world. The tears. Can't tell which. Lee Jordan can't tell which twin it is, despite being their friend, but it could be a distance issue. Nice play by the Gryffindor beater anyway, and Johnson back in possession of the quaffle. A clear field ahead, and off she goes. She's really flying. Dodges a speeding bludger. The goalposts are ahead, as opposed to behind. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Come on now, come on, comma, now, Angelina. Now, comma, Keeper Bletchley. Wow, pretty close to Belchley. I had a psychology teacher named Belch. He was a pretty good teacher, actually. I rather liked him. Good-hearted man. Keeper Bletchley dives, misses. Gryffindor scores! Huzzah! Gryffindor cheers fill the cold air with howls and moans from the Slytherins. Ha ha ha. Budge up there. Move along. Hagrid! Ron and Hermione squeezed together to give Hagrid enough space to join them, because Hagrid is going to join these students out of all the other students in Gryffindor, or in the entire school. And with the theory that Hagrid might actually have been a Hufflepuff, why wouldn't he have joined Hufflepuffs? Guess he didn't like Cedric. I don't blame him. I mean, okay, let's be clear. Cedric is great. Edward Cullen's not so much. What I haven't seen the Batman. His Batman. What's his name? I can't remember the actor's name right now. Sorry for not remembering the actor's name. Cedric's actor's name. Rest in peace, Cedric. I am sorry, Amos. Been watching from me hut, said Hagrid, patting a large pair of binoculars around his neck. But it isn't the same as being in the crowd. No sign of the snitch yet, eh? So how? Based on any scene in the movie, any of the landscape shots in the movie, how is Hagrid able to see? How does Hagrid have a view of the Quidditch pitch? Unfortunately, I can't edit to these videos any longer to throw up a couple of screenshots from the movies to show that there is no way that Hagrid has a view of the Quidditch pitch. But again, of course, the movies are not canon. The movies are what a designer decided to put together, and that designer probably did not go through each and every description of the layouts for the castle and the grounds. That would be really difficult, actually. It would be, and I don't know how much Hogwarts Legacy actually was able to do that. My computer cannot play Hogwarts Legacy. Also sad. I want to play it, but I can't. Cannot. So I don't know how exactly how close the entirety of Hogwarts Legacy grounds is to book descriptions. I want to explore Hogwarts. So no sign of the snitch yet. Nope, said Ron. Harry hasn't had much to do yet. Nope. Kept out of trouble, though. That's something, said Hagrid, raising his binoculars and peering skyward at the speck. The speck that was Harry. How high up is Harry? Um, and how powerful are these binoculars and how adjustable are they? Because Hagrid's hut is not close to the Quidditch pitch. Anyways, way up above them, Harry was gliding over the game, squinting about for some sign of the snitch. This was part of his and Wood's game plan. Keep out of the way until you catch sight of the snitch, Wood had said. We don't want you attacked before you have to be. Up. When Angelina had scored, Harry had done a couple of loop the loops. Loop the loops. He's looping a loop. What? Okay. To let off his feelings. Let off his feelings. Not to celebrate, not to just celebrate the score, but just to let off his feelings of success, of stress, of boredom, maybe. Now he was back to staring around for the snitch. Once he caught sight of a flash of gold, but it was just a reflection from one of the Weasleys' wristwatches. Give perhaps because I think actually Harry gets the watch from one of Molly's brothers, from Fabian or Gideon. Gideon or Gibeon? I don't remember if it's Gideon or Gibeon, D or B. We'll find that out later or at just another point in time. Um, and but yeah, like I said, thinking too much causes me twitching. Um, so could it be Molly's parents, Molly's dad's watch? No, because that wouldn't that have gone um to Charlie or Bill? Bill's older. Yeah. How many watches did Molly collect from her predecessors? I mean, obviously she's got her two brothers. Did she have other? I mean, she has her twin brothers. We'll specify that. Um, did she have other brothers besides Fabian and Gideon or Gibeon? Gotta be Gideon. It's gotta be a D. Um, and or is it from Molly's uncles? Or is this Arthur's side of the family? I guess that could be. Could the older boys are getting Arthur's watches, Arthur's family's watches. But then again, still, there's some extra watches that we got to figure out who they came from. Is if Harry gets one of Molly's twin brothers watches, and I would imagine Ron got the other twin brother's watch. Personally, I think it would have made more sense to give the twins' watches to the twins. But maybe there's a line of succession for the heirlooms that we don't know. And I want to know. If you have links to Pottermore articles on this topic, please leave it down in the comment. Let me know. I want to know who all these watches came from. I wish I had a watch. All right there, Harry. He had time to yell. Wait. Let's see. Okay, no. I missed it. Back up. It was the reflection of one of the Weasley's wrist watches. Such a hard word. And once a bludger decided to come pelting his way, more like a cannonball than anything. Who hit this bludger like a cannonball? But Harry dodged it, and Fred Weasley came chasing after it. All right there, Harry, he had time to yell as he beat the bludger furiously toward Marcus Flint. Slytherin in possession, Lee Jordan was saying. Chaser Pusey ducks two bludgers. Ducks both bludgers. Both of them. Both bludgers. Both Weasleys. Two Weasleys. And Chaser Katie Bell. And speeds towards the... Wait a moment. Was that the snitch? We getting distracted. Lee Jordan spots it. While he's focused on Pusey. Okay, I have to stop to medicate. Okay. Was that the snitch? A murmur ran through the crowd as Adrian Pusey dropped the quaffle, too busy looking over his shoulder at the flash of gold that had passed his left ear. Wow. Which would be why Lee Jordan noticed it, because it went right past Pusey. Right past Adrian Pukey. And hilarious that Pukey drops the quaffle because of it. And maybe he ducked out of the way. He's like, oh crap. He sees the snitch coming straight at him. And just looks at Square as it goes right past. I did that with a bee once. I had a bee flying straight at me, and I looked him square in the eye. And I could see the anger in his eyes. Oh, man. That was my second job that I ever had. Second real job, working at a grocery store. And my assignment was to take care of the bees, the yellow jackets that were around the store and around the garbage cans. Yeah. Luckily, I did not get stung at all. I survived that. But Harry saw it. In a great rush of excitement, he dived. He dove downward after the streak of gold. I know. It's acceptable to say dived instead of dove. Dive and dived. But I definitely think dove is the correct, or should be the correct. But that's me. And JK is from England, where English originates. So, and I guess she has studied English a lot more, studied language a lot more than I have. Uh, I still, I don't like it. It sounds wrong to me. Sorry. Slytherin Seeker, Terrence Higgs. Terrence Higgs, remember that. There will be a test later. Terrence Higgs, for the trivia. Slytherin Seeker is Terrence Higgs, Terrence Higgs, Terrence Higgs, Terrence Higgs. Higgs boson. Of course. Of course. And the snitch is the Higgs boson particle. You want to call the snitch like the Higgs boson particle that is being chased after. Excellent, excellent. Nice subtlety, JK. Very nice. Neck and neck, they hurtled toward the snitch. All the chasers seemed to have forgotten what they were supposed to be doing as they hung in midair to watch. Because nothing else matters. Other than the only thing that matters in the entirety of the game, unless you're as stupid as Bulgaria and specifically Victor Crumb, the snitch is the only thing that matters. Scoring with the quaffle usually doesn't matter. Unless you're Ireland and you're just that amazing. Irish pride. Sorry, Victor. Sorry, Bulgaria. But Irish pride. I think we're gonna say anything else. What do we got? What do we got? Where was I? Where was I? They watch as they hung in midair. Harry was faster than Higgs on his Nimbus 2000 because all brooms. Students are allowed to choose their own brooms instead of having standard brooms. Makes it very, very unfair to those who, like the Weasleys, can only afford clean sweeps. I think it was clean sweeps. What were the other brands of broom brands? I don't remember. Harry was faster than Higgs. He could see the little round ball. That's good. That's very good that Harry could see the little round ball that he was chasing and supposed to be seeking. Wings fluttering, which makes it easier to see. Darting up ahead. He could with the I'm putting way too much into this one. he put on a little extra spurt of speed and wham! A roar of rage echoed from the Gryffindors below. Marcus Flint had blocked Harry on purpose, and Harry's broom spun off course. Wait, okay, so wham, is the roar of rage the wham? Is what is whamming? Or did Harry run into Marcus Flint or bump into him as his broom spun off course? Not as Harry spun his broom off course, but as Harry's broom spun off course? Or is it because of the collision? Um, and it doesn't say there's a collision. I mean, you'd almost think that he's Marcus Flint comes up and Harry's like, whoa, turns sharp, and then kind of just goes off. Um, but then what is the wham? So again, not quite clear, JK. Foul! Screamed the Gryffindors. Madam Hooch spoke angrily to Flint. Not yelling at him, not red card. um, but she spoke angrily at Flint and then ordered a free shot at the goalposts for Gryffindor. So, dang it! Already forgot the name of the Slytherin keeper. That's not good. What is it? Not Terrence Higgs. Not Adrian Pusey. Oh, dang it. That's not good. Where was it? Oh, Bletchley. Yeah, Bletchley. Bletchley. Don't forget Bletchley. There will be a test later. But in all the confusion, of course, of a lot of confusion as to what happened, what is this wham? How is Harry's broom spinning off course of its own accord? And of course, the golden snitch had disappeared from sight. Down in the stands, Dean Thomas was yelling, "Send him off, ref! Red card!" "What are you talking about, Dean?" said Ron. "Red card," said Dean furiously. In soccer. Oh, the American version of the book. I need to get the British versions of the books. In football, you get shown the red card and you're out of the game. But this isn't soccer, Dean, Ron reminded him, because we're not in the US. And nobody, pretty sure nobody else but the US calls it soccer. Strange we are. Very, very strange we are. Hagrid, however, was on Dean's side. As am I, other than calling it soccer, unless Dean Thomas is actually American. Which then, why would he be a West Ham fan? They ought to change the rules. Flint could have knocked Harry out of the air. How? Well, okay, yeah. Obviously that is one of the 700 and something ways to commit a Quidditch foul. Gosh, ugh, I hate this. But yeah, I need definitely more penalties for certain fouls, for committing fouls. Lee Jordan was finding it difficult not to take sides because he is a Gryffindor and his team is playing in the match. So, of course, he is going to be taking sides, which is blatantly obvious. This is a conflict of interest. I mean, he's great. not as good as Luna. Nobody is as good as Luna. But of course he's biased. So, after that obvious and disgusting bit of cheating, Jordan, Jordan, growled Professor McGonagall. I mean, after that open and revolting foul, Jordan, I'm warning you. Oh, McGonagall. All right, all right. Plant nearly kills the Gryffindor Seeker, which could happen to anyone, I'm sure, who commits a foul. So penalty to Gryffindor for that open and revolting, repulsive, repugnant foul. Taken a penalty shot taken by Spinette, who easily puts it away. No trouble. And we continue play. The ball back up in the air. Does Madam Hooch have to throw it back into the air, or does somebody have to go down and pick it up? One of the players, like in basketball, after a score, and it's just picked up from underneath the net. That's probably the way it goes. Gryffindor still in possession, which would not make sense, at least basketball rules wise, because after a team scores, the other team gets to take the ball from underneath the net to send it out. And apparently, that is not a requirement here for Quidditch. The rules should be changed. Because if you manage to get the ball back after scoring, then you just come back around and try to score again. And if the seeker or if the keeper gets knocked out, then you can just keep going around and around and around. Have somebody on the backside and just be coming around constantly and score a million points, and then catching the snitch wouldn't matter. The game is broken. Yep, absolutely broken. It was as Harry dodged another bludger, which went spinning dangerously past his head, that it happened. It happened. His broom gave a sudden, frightening lurch, which maybe, wait, could be Harry's broom spinning out of control and Harry barely able to hang on, be the first attempt by Quirrell to, I mean, by Snape to dislodge Harry from the broom. And seeing that didn't work, he's like, okay, I'll give it another moment, give him a break for a moment, and then back on the attack. I wonder. That could be a thing. For a split second, he thought he was going to fall. Again, he gripped the broom tightly with both hands and his knees, and the broom shot off. Because when you grip the broom tightly, it accelerates. At least other times. He'd never felt anything like that. Not like he has much experience to go off of. It happened again. It was as though the broom was trying to buck him off. So we get a lurch, and then in a moment later, we get another lurch, and then maybe some other lurches and some spins, and but Nimbus 2000s did not suddenly decide to buck their riders off. The rooms do not suddenly decide to use car horn or I hate it. Ow. This is why it takes so long to read. So yeah, the theory is that brooms are sentient. That brooms have a brain, even though you can't see where it keeps it. Hmm. The broom can think for itself, despite not not being able to see where it keeps its brain. According to our Mr. Weasley, Arthur Weasley, we should not be trusting brooms. Right? Harry tried to turn back toward the Gryffindor goalposts. He had half a mind to ask Wood to call a timeout. And then he realized his broom was completely out of control. He couldn't turn it. Uh-oh. He couldn't direct it at all. He was zigzagging through the air, and every now and then making violent swishing movements that almost unseated him. Lee was still commentating. Oh, fuck. I'll be right back. Okay. This is why it takes so long to get through this, and why it's been so long since I've read the last time. It's the last time, because I know I'm struggling to maintain stability. It is not easy to do this. I want to, but it is really not easy. Keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting, keep pushing on. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Lee was still commentating. Slytherin in possession. Flint with the quaffle. Passes Spinette. Passes Bell. Hit hard in the face by a bludger. Hope it broke his nose. Only joking, Professor. Not really. Slytherin score! A no. ... What? Slytherin score a no. That's a really interesting spot to cut off the sentence, the dialogue. I mean, at least buy this copy of the ebook. I mean, I could understand if it's supposed to be part of another, but it's a no ... The Slytherins were cheering, and I understand getting drowned out, but still, give me a little bit more as to what Lee was trying to say, or don't give it at all, because it's weird. A no. No one seemed to have noticed that Harry's broom was behaving strangely. Somehow. It was carrying him slowly higher, away from the game, jerking and twitching as it went. Don't know what Harry thinks he's doing, Hagrid mumbled. He stared through his binoculars. If I don't know better, I'd say he'd lost control of his broom. But he can't have. Why not? Suddenly, people were pointing up at Harry all over the stands because Hagrid's voice booms, and everybody somehow heard Hagrid looking up and mumbling about Harry's broom going crazy. Sorry, my nose is itching right now. It's all this mustache that I have, and I recently trimmed it. I recently trimmed my nose hairs. Yeah. People were pointing up at Harry all over the stands. His broom had started to roll over and over, with him only just managing to hold on. Then the whole crowd gasped. Harry's broom had given a wild jerk, and Harry swung off. He was now dangling from it, holding on with only one hand. Did something happen to it when Flint blocked him? Sorry, Seamus whispered. Did something happen to it when Flint blocked him? Can't have, Haggard said, his voice shaking. Can't nothing interfere with a broomstick except powerful dark magic. No kid can do that to a Nimbus 2000. But there are other adults in the stands besides just teachers. I'd imagine there's probably quite a few Hogsmeade residents that come to watch the games. I mean, heck, why not? That would be great. That'd be a lot of fun being a resident of Hogsmeade, to just having grown up at the school and then moved to town. Or why else? And why would you go anywhere else? It's go and watch the Quidditch matches all the time. Yeah, absolutely. Be great entertainment for all the Hogsmeade um, residents. How often does Aberforth come to watch Quidditch? Actually, I would guess probably not at all. Aberforth, I if I recall, Aberforth is not athletic. Didn't care. Dumbledore, yeah. I mean, Albus, yes, obviously was on the Quidditch team. Um, Probably as a first year. But Aberforth probably didn't play. Probably didn't care. And he was probably jealous of Albus's success and so outright refused to like Quidditch. That was probably the times that he went off to play with his goats. Which apparently was not the inappropriate charm he was casting, performing on the goats. So, at these words, Hermione seized Hagrid's binoculars that Hagrid is using to look up in the air at Harry. Hagrid, who is twice as tall as a normal man, and Hermione, who is an 11-year-old girl, being 2/3 the size of a normal man. How is Hermione seizing Hagrid's binoculars? Unless she's like climbing up on Hagrid's back. Standing up on the bleachers and reaching way up as high as she can, attempting to pull Hagrid down, but instead pulling herself up would probably be more likely to be able to do a pull up on the binoculars than to pull Hagrid down to her level, even if she's standing on the bleachers. But instead of looking up at Harry, she started looking frantically at the crowd, trying to figure out what. What are you doing? Moaned Ron, gray faced. I knew it. Snape. Which, okay, again, because you suspected Snape with Over the Troll, that's maybe why you're looking for Snape, why you're thinking maybe it could be Snape. But you also think that Snape is supposed to be good. Then, of course, now Harry's just confirmed that Snape was trying to get past the dog. So maybe she is a little suspicious. Ron grabbed the binoculars that Hagrid again might have. Maybe Hagrid didn't have him around his neck, strapped around his neck. Maybe he was dangling them down on his side, and Hermione managed to pull them out of his hand. Maybe. But, yeah. Snape was in the middle of the stands opposite them. He had his eyes fixed on Harry and was muttering nonstop under his breath. And we don't see anybody else looking suspicious. Even though, as you watch the movie, Quirrell looks very suspicious with his hands. Yeah, Quirrell was very suspicious. Little things that you notice when watching the movie 100 times or more. He's doing something, Hermione. Jinxing the broom, said Hermione. What should we do? Leave it to me. Oh boy. Before Ron could say another word, Hermione had disappeared. Ron turned the binoculars back to Harry. His broom was vibrating so hard, you could see the vibrations, which vibrations are, which when you're a speck up there. Okay, how are you? But the broom was vibrating so hard it was almost impossible for him to hang on much longer. The whole crowd was on its feet, watching, terrified. Even the Slytherins were terrified for Harry's safety, and thinking, damn, we should have got those mattresses out underneath him. We're carrying those mattresses out for him. As the Weasleys flew up to try and pull Harry safely onto one of their brooms, hoping that the broom can hold both weights, which maybe 100 pounds each, 120, maybe 150 for the twins, and 120 for Harry. Yeah, I suppose the brooms could probably hold it. But it was no good. Every time they got near to him, the broom would jump higher still. They dropped lower and circled beneath him with mattresses out. They summoned a mattress, Accio mattresses, obviously hoping to catch him if he fell. Marcus Flint seized the quaffle and scored 5 times without anyone noticing. Again, here's the problem with with this team that scored being able to get the quaffle after their score to bring it back into play. Whereas in basketball, the opposite team has to take the ball back into play. Huge fault in Quidditch. Huge rule problems. Come on, Hermione. And did he actually, was the score dinged? Because if Lee didn't notice it, if McGonagall didn't notice it, the 5 scores, how did it actually get calculated, scored? Did they count? Sorry. Come on, Hermione, Ron muttered desperately. Hermione had fought her way across to the stands where Snape stood. Fought with Crucio and Recto Sempra, Recto Sempra, Sectum Sempra, Reducto. Definitely Hermione used Reducto and Inflammare, Bombarda Maxima. That's how Hermione fought her way across to Snape's stands. where Snape stood this time. Not. I mean, they're in the stands, so of course they're standing in the stands. I guess there's no seats in the stands. And now, and was now racing along the row behind him. She didn't even stop to say sorry as she knocked Professor Quirrell head first into the row in front. Okay. So in the movie, Quirrell is sitting kind of behind Snape, in the row behind Snape. And if Hermione's running down the row behind Snape, then she would knock Quirrell backwards. But in this case, she knocks him forwards, head first, into the row in front. So Quirrell is sitting in the same row that Snape is sitting in. Not the row behind, but the same row. And that you would think that at that point, as soon as Quirrell's eye contact is broken, as he goes flying forward into the row in front of him, tripping over his robes, stumbling into somebody else, she now reaches Snape, crouches down, pulls out her wand, and whispers a few well-chosen words. Inflammare. And bright blue flames shot from the end of her wand onto the hem of Snape's robe. It took perhaps 30 seconds for Snape to realize he was on fire. A sudden yelp told her she had done her job, told her that Snape realized he was on fire, that, "You're on fire!" Scooping the fire off of him into a little jar in her pocket. So she's right, I'm going to use a coat pocket, shirt lapel pocket. So she's got the jar in her probably lower robe pocket that she scoops this while Snape is freaking out about being on fire. She scoops the fire off into the jar that is in her pocket. And then scrambles back along the row. And Snape would never know what had happened. Knowing that he was on fire, but then suddenly the fire disappearing. When if she's running along the row behind him and is able to knock Quirrell over, she's not underneath the bleachers at Snape's feet like she is in the movie. And it's not Snape freaking out about being on fire that knocks into Quirrell. That knocks into somebody else that knocks into Quirrell. The movie did it better. This is one of those scenes that the movie does better than JK wrote. Because it was enough after all of that, after probably 30 seconds plus plus the time between her hitting Quirrell to the point reaching Snape and starting the fire. That's got to be at least 10 seconds. Easily 10 seconds. And then her gathering up the flame and then leaving. That's got to be another couple seconds. We're talking at least at least 45 seconds, if not a minute, after Quirrell is knocked into the row in front of him before Harry was suddenly able to clamber back onto his broom. No, this time I understand the use of clamber because he's dangling below by one arm. And so now he reaches up and then pulls himself up. And that is laborious. That's not easy to do. But yeah. Neville, you can look, Ron said. Neville had been sobbing into Hagrid's jacket for the last 5 minutes. Must be suffering PTSD from his own broom incident and getting his wrist broken from falling. Very much nowhere near as far as the movie made it. Which was my first viewing of the movie because I was working at the movie theater when it came out and I caught it on a 10-minute break. Neville trying to fly was the scene that I caught, and it almost completely turned me off the movie series 100%. But I took another break, and it was the chess match, the final chess match, and the big reveal. And so I got hooked. Very, very hooked. Oh, okay, we're almost done. The weather is now thinning my spine. Harry was speeding toward the ground when the crowd saw him clap his hand to his mouth as though he was about to be sick. Again, another scene in which the movie so much better than this description. Harry was speeding toward the ground when the crowd saw him clap his hand to his mouth as though he was about to be sick. He hit the field on all fours, coughed, and something fell into his hand. So, I love in the movie, Harry's gets up onto the broom, stands on the broom, and reaches out. Now, granted, that's not the best way to do it. I mean, did he really need to reach that slight bit further in expectations that the snitch wasn't going to change direction? Because if the snitch changed direction, Harry would have been screwed. And also, he couldn't just put on a little spurt more speed and reach just a little bit further to catch it. No. He's flying to the ground, and then he puts his hand over his mouth and then lands on the ground on all fours. Lands, just like doesn't even he hit the field on all fours, not tumbles and rolls. But at least we got the cough and something gold fell into his hands. But then we have I've got the snitch. He shouted. Harry shouted, waving it above his head. And the game ended in complete confusion. Yeah, definitely complete confusion. Complete, total, and utter confusion. By the way, JK decided to actually describe the ending of the match. I think she wanted to move on. It's like, how do I end this? Let's just do this quick thing and we'll move on to talk about what Snape did. Yeah, or what Snape might have supposedly done. Um, yeah, I've got the snitch. Harry shouts, not Lee Jordan shouting, he's got the snitch. Harry wins. Harry scores 150 points for Gryffindor. Movie did it way better. Sorry. There's a point where movie's better than the book. He didn't catch, or excuse me, he didn't catch. Oh wait, he's got troll blood. He didn't catch it. He nearly swallowed it. Flint was still howling 20 minutes later, but it made no difference. Harry hadn't broken any rules, and Lee Jordan was still happily shouting the results. Gryffindor had won by 170 points, despite the 5 goals and 50 points that Flint had scored while no one was looking. So, yeah, apparently those 5 goals did not count. Or there's a bunch of other Gryffindor scores that did not count, that we did not even get to read about. Well, except it was 170 points to 60, which that does explain the 5 goals, but that means it was 20 to 60, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I read that wrong. Forgive me. I read that wrong. Not that they won by 170 points. They won 170 to 60, winning by 110 points. Now, come on. Yeah. On. Harry heard none of this, though. None of Lee Jordan's stuff. He was being made a cup of strong tea back in Hagrid's hut with Ron and Hermione because Harry's throat needed repair after catching a giant ball with fluttering metal wings in his mouth. Ow! Gotta be some cuts. I mean, Harry is the Joker. Harry becomes the Joker. Why so serious? Rubbish, said Hagrid, who hadn't heard a word of what had gone on next to him in the stands. Really? Oh. Why would what? Why would Snape do something like that? Harry, Ron, and Hermione looked at one another, wondering what to tell him. Harry decided on the truth. Oh, what a concept, Harry. Maybe you should try that next year when you're talking to Dumbledore. I found out something about him, he told Hagrid. He tried to get past that 3-headed dog on Halloween. Like a couple days ago. It bit him. We think he was trying to steal whatever it's guarding. Hagrid dropped the teapot. Oh my god. Gotta get the drinks. I gotta get drinks because that's maybe the only way I'm gonna get through this. That is the cannabis drinks. Oh, they've helped me with hiking. Um, walking around doing the car show, photographing the car show recently. Um, I mostly mostly survived the car show. About as I'm doing this. Um, I don't know how I'm managing. I can get through the clean readings mostly okay. I guess it's because I'm thinking more for these. That's my problem. Thinking causes seizures. Yay. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. How do you know about Fluffy? He said. Fluffy? Yeah, he's mine. Bought him off a Greek chappie I met in the pub last year. I lent him to Dumbledore to guard the. Yes, Harry said eagerly. Um, now, don't go asking me any more, said Hagrid gruffly. That's top secret, that is. Yeah, so why don't you tell us? If it's top secret, you should be telling us. You should tell us everything you know if it's top secret, because this is Hogwarts, and secrets are meant to be told. But Snape's trying to steal it, says somebody. Maybe Harry, maybe Hermione, like in the movies. Maybe it's Ron. We don't actually know here. But given previous dialogue, it's most likely Harry. Actually, wait, no. Harry says it in the movie. Yeah, Harry says in the movie that Snape's trying to steal it. Hard to remember because 11-year-old Harry is his voice is so high pitched and about equivalent to Hermione's voice. Rubbish, said Hagrid again. Snape's a Hogwarts teacher. He'd do nothing of the sort. So why did he just try to kill Harry? Cried Hermione. So why did he just try to kill Harry? No, probably not. Um, although Hermione did just a few days ago spent quite a bit of time crying, actually crying. So maybe she was upset that she didn't have friends, and now that she does have friends, and that she almost lost a new friend, she is quite scared. And Hermione, wow, ooh, to really think about it that way, that Hermione goes from kind of feeling lonely to having it confirmed harshly that she has no friends and that nobody likes her, um, and crying in the bathroom to being rescued by Harry and Ron. Um, and, yeah, by both of them largely, and then then now having friends. In there are some things you can't go through without coming out as friends, and taking on a fully grown mountain foal is one of them. Um, so she's now got the friends, getting close to them, and then one of them is almost attacked. One of them is almost attacked the same, kind of similarly to the way she was attacked, actually by the same person, technically, since Quirrell sent the troll and Quirrell did the jinxing, as we'll find out later, in a couple chapters, in this read, which might be the end of the year at this rate, or next year. Hopefully not. I want to get through this. Um, but Then Hermione goes and protects Harry. She takes the initiative to defend her friend, her new friend, and goes and fights a teacher. Goes and fights Snape, essentially, and enough to distract him, and because she believes it is Snape, um, but luckily runs into Quirrell, and it still somehow takes a minute before Harry's broom stops going crazy. Ah, what? I mean, did Quirrell manage to actually maintain concentration through getting bumped and jostled, and then decided to stop after a while after Snape caught on fire? That's the only way it can be, is if Quirrell maintained the spell during after being hit. Wow. To That's impressive. That's really impressive. And then choosing to turn off the spell. Deciding that he needed to turn it off. Deactivate the jinx. Wow. This whole the whole thing just got a whole lot darker between Hermione protecting Harry after protecting her new friends after thinking she had no friends, not wanting to lose her friend that she just got, to Quirrell hanging on with the spell and then choosing to deactivate. I know a jinx when I see one, Hagrid. I read all about them. You've got to keep eye contact, and Snape wasn't blinking at all. I saw him. And apparently, counter jinxes also require eye contact. But again, how did Quirrell maintain eye contact, maintain the concentration on jinxing the broom after getting bumped into? And 30 seconds later, maybe it was quick enough that he was able to look back up and reactivate it, and then decided not to cut it. I mean, I don't know. It's There's a lot more going on deeper than we get on the page. I'm telling you, you're wrong. Yeah, you're wrong, said Hagrid hotly. I don't know why Harry's broom acted like that, but Snape wouldn't try and kill a student. But Quirrell would. Now listen to me, all three of you. You're meddling in things that don't concern you. It's dangerous. It does concern them, especially with Harry being attacked, with Harry having his broom attacked. It's now suddenly concerning him, and with them believing that Snape is doing something. I mean, obviously, the Philosopher's Stone doesn't directly influence them, concern them, but Harry's safety and potential murderous teacher that has it out for Harry, that does have it out for Harry. In a way, I guess. He certainly Snape doesn't want Harry to die, but um, Snape definitely would like Harry to be kicked out. But so, anyways, you're meddling in things that don't concern you. It's dangerous. You forget what that dog's guarding. You forget that dog, and you forget what it's guarding. That's between Professor Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel. Here you go. Hagrid spilling the beans. Gotta tell the secrets. Ha! Said Harry. So, there's someone called Nicholas Flamel involved, is there? Hagrid looked furious with himself. Did it? Is that right? Yep. Yes, we did it. We did it. We got through. We finally finished chapter 11. Need to get on to chapter 12 because I'm behind there too. And then 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So quite a bit more to go. Hopefully I can find some stability enough to do so, to read more. Today is the 28th. In a couple days I am going back south, and I'll probably be in a spot where I'm not able to read. I might be able to head out, do read chapter 13 on the beach down there, or I might the next couple days go out the beach here and do chapter 13. That would be a good thing for me to do if I can manage to do so, though it is rather windy, and I definitely can't use the Blue Yeti microphone out there, so it'll be back on the lapel. It's just the way it is. And I'll see if I can maybe figure out a way to block the wind a little bit better, without creating too much extra noise of clothing moving around stuff. Thank you for joining me on this. Sorry it has taken so long. I'm sorry this whole book is taking so long, but I'm still trying to do this, trying to do something, many things, several things with my life. A few things. It is what it is. Thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe and share. Tell other people. We're getting almost done. Maybe a couple more months to go on this book, and then we'll start on the next book. We'll see if the Carlin brothers will have finished Chamber of Secrets by the time I finished Philosopher's Stone. I read I believe I think I was on chapter 10 when they started reading chapter 1, and now I just finished chapter 11. Well, I guess I finished chapter 12, my clean readings. But anyways, catch you on the flip side. May the chaos of your existence be beneficial.